Welcome. This is Bob Dancer, along with Richard. We have in studio today Bob Ncessian, the top lawyer in Vegas for dealing with player problems. So we got a whole bunch of those problems we're going to be talking about, including some questions from listeners. Richard, how are you doing tonight?
Good. Happy to be here. I'm really excited about this.
Very good. We may have a mystery caller coming in. So he said probably. So when it happens, you will know. And if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to tell you because it'll happen next week. So before we get into talking with Bob Ncessian, Richard and I are going to talk about some money problems that we have had through the years. We're not experts on this, but we're both experienced gamblers. We've been doing this for high stakes for more than 20 years. So one of the things we wanted to talk about now is traveling with money. That would include going through airports, or that would include driving somewhere. So let me set up a scenario. I'm flying to New Orleans to play. Now, assume for now I don't have a line of credit there, and I think is right to take $8,000 to go. That's however I got that much money. How do I get it there? So, Richard, if that was what you were going to do, how would you do it?
Well, first of all, I would say $8,000. I wouldn't expect there to be a problem with a sum that low. Table game players often are carrying many times more, but
$28,000.
Okay, let's say $28,000. I think is a more reasonable number. In my own case, there are two issues. First of all, I am going to carry the money in cash on my person. It's not going to go in checked luggage.
For sure.
And there are two issues at the airport. One is whether they have those screening devices that basically see you naked in the machine, or whether it's just a metal detector. In my own case, if it's just the metal detector, I take everything out of my pockets except the cash. That is the only thing in my pockets, or in a money belt around my waist, sometimes in a ankle wallet. There might be some of it. And I go through, and the machines never go off from the money, or
right.
I've never had a problem there.
The paper bills don't trigger the machine.
Right. If they have those I don't know what to call those things.
Call them body scanners.
Body scanner. Then what I do is I've done two different things. One is I take everything out of my pockets except the money, and when I go to the body scanner, I fold up the money in my two hands and hold it over my head, which is what they tell you to do, because I tell them I don't want to take the money, I don't want to put the money through the machine. So they say, that's okay, take it out of your pockets and hold it over your head. Usually they have no idea how much money I'm talking about. And so far, I haven't had a problem that way. Although sometimes when it was more than I felt I could hold over my head without them sort of noticing that it was a lot of money, I have put it inside my bag and let my bag go through the scanner, and I didn't have a problem. One time, I was wearing a money belt with $20,000 around my waist, and I refused to go through the body scanner. And they said, okay, you have to go through a pat-down. And the guy patting me down spent the entire time telling me that I had nothing to fear from the body scanner as he patted me down and did not feel the $20,000 that was in the money belt around my waist. So that's how I handle it.
He didn't notice it?
He did not notice it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make you feel safer?
Yeah. Okay. Good. So yeah, I would do something similar. A friend of mine, when he puts it in his bag, he actually has it in a double sealed bag where he includes in it the casino offer. So something from Harrah's New Orleans, if that's where he's going, that says, come on down this weekend and this is the event. He includes a copy of his tax return, which he declares himself a professional gambler, a profit-making gambler, and that he pays taxes on it. And he includes some W-2Gs that he got from New Orleans last time.
Sounds like a good plan.
There are problem with that. Okay, good. So Bob Ncessian, we haven't introduced him yet. So he's saying one problem with that, so speak.
Do not ever put it in a double-sealed bag, in aluminum foil, or anything that looks like you're trying to hide it, because there's case law out there that says that's the probable cause to take it.
That it's in a double-sealed, even a double-sealed clear bag?
Yeah. The idea is you're double sealing it and you're trying to hide it from their dogs.
Oh, I see.
Well, actually, money could smell like drugs. So if you have $28,000, there's going to be some cocaine in there.
Yes, there are, and that's problem number 2. But there are plenty of cases out there that say a dog hitting on money alone is not enough, but a dog hitting on money that has been packaged in a way to secret it from the dog is enough.
Okay, so single sealed bag.
Or don't seal it at all.
Don't seal it.
Just put it in the bag, I guess.
All that other stuff he has is already there. Why is it sealed, sir? How's he going to answer the question? I don't want you to know it's there, but now that you know it's there, here's my excuse. It's not sealed. I don't care if you found it. I'm a gambler. But
well, in reality, the reason we seal it, though, when I put it in a bag and put it in there, is because if they do find it, I don't want their sticky fingers removing any of the bills. They can see it's money. You know, you don't need to open the bag and put your hands on it. Okay, it's money. There it is.
I then do something else, a big fat binder clip or something.
Yeah.
Rubber bands. I don't know, but the idea, I have thoroughly researched this. I'm currently in the Ninth Circuit on these issues, and the problem that comes up time and again is that the people have packaged the money in a way that conveys to the TSA, or be it a state cop or whoever, that they are trying to take that this money is packaged in a way to prevent detection, 1, and 2, possibly that in a manner that a drug courier would carry it.
So you think pockets is a better option?
Pockets is a better option, or carry-on bag in a money clip, or best thing yet is work out of the banks at the location in your bank where you are.
Well, one of the big
get a line of credit in New Orleans or something.
Yeah, or carry a cashier's check with you.
Okay.
But one of the big differences between video poker players and table game players actually is, if I were a video poker player, absolutely I would get the line of credit, or I would have no trouble cashing a check in the casino, because video poker players, the casino knows who you are.
That's
and
right. We
everything
need to show
about
ID.
You. So often for the table games players, we don't want them to know who we are. And actually, often we're carrying chips as well, or in place of the cash. And that can present a whole other problem. But
that's not so much a problem with the seizing authorities, though. Carrying the chips instead tends to be ignored. For example, the one that I have, the case that's in the Ninth Circuit, is $95,000. And that particular agent was even continuing to seize the money and hold it, despite the fact that they were provided the tax returns and a win report from the casino from the very day they got on the airplane that showed a $40,000 takeaway. And they took every penny. Yeah, you're looking at me, Richard.
I'm befuddled, yeah.
I'm befuddled, too. And when the U.S. attorney finally got the matter, the U.S. attorney was befuddled, too. She told me, well, we told our agent after I looked at this that we're drug cops. We're not gambling cops. And she sent me the money back. But the money was taken nonetheless, and it costs a lot to get money out of a seizure. The two I've dealt with, both times the money was returned to the gambler. A lot of times the gambler just lets it slide. It's too much publicity and too much out there to fight or what have you, or it's in a faraway state, etc. But when the gamblers do fight, from what I've seen, they tend to get their money back, at least as I'm dealing with it. I do understand that there's a $60,000 take at the Ambassador Bridge in Detroit, I think it was, that never was returned.
And is there any possibility of suing for damages when you're? I mean, we're talking about the DEA that's seizing this money, right?
That's what happened in this case. Is we got the money back. It was in. I wrote on it in All In magazine. The money was returned. And now we are suing the agent who seized it.
Oh, good.
Yes, and that's what's in the Ninth Circuit. That case was dismissed at the trial court level, apparently because cops can get away with about anything they want to.
Is there a difference if your problem is with TSA as opposed to a DEA agent?
Generally, from what I've seen, and this is only anecdotal, TSA agents are not going to do what you're concerned with. Rather, there are DEA agents on site that they will bring in.
Oh.
Before we go any further, we ought to introduce Bob Ncessian.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Richard, why don't you tell us who he is and what he's doing here?
So Bob is an attorney that has been practicing here in Las Vegas for 20 years. He has let me back up a second. When I first got to Vegas in the 70s, there was one big case of a player who actually sued a casino and got some money because they had beat him up pretty severely. And after that, whenever players tried to get an attorney interested in a case, players have been handcuffed, roughed up, threatened, things stolen out of their hotel rooms. The police didn't care. The lawyers were never interested either because they didn't want to upset the casinos who run the state, or there just really isn't that much money involved. And since 95, Bob has finally been someone willing to take on these people. So he has sued not just numerous casinos, but the Metro Police Department, the Gaming Commission, and some would say he's responsible for bankrupting the Griffin Agency. So clearly this is a hero to the players, and we're really happy and honored to have him in the studio with us tonight. Oh, and he's also the author of the book, Beat the Players.
Welcome to Gaming.
Well, thanks so much for having me, and sorry for stealing the intro part of the show there.
Yeah, see what you did? Now, let's assume you're a table games player, and you're being approached by some casino employee, whether it's a suit or security guards, and you don't know for sure if they're going to remove you or what they're doing, but they're coming. What are the things you should keep in mind of what you should say and what you definitely should not say?
Well, the first thing is, if you have an opportunity when the heat shows up, is don't say a word and head for the nearest door and get there before they do. Not running through the casino.
So don't run. You can walk fast?
You could walk purposefully.
Purposefully.
If you are running, that would arguably be raising some suspicion, although they can't just take you into custody on mere suspicion. It's not going to look good later, and the natural human reaction is to chase after somebody who's running from you.
Okay, so this didn't happen. You did not. They're actually talking to you. They say, will you please come with me?
I choose not to.
All right. They say, you will come with us.
You say, I don't think you heard me.
Okay.
I choose not to. And then they say, if you don't come nice, you're going to have to come ugly.
Okay.
That's a phrase I've actually heard.
Okay.
At that point, go ugly.
Go ugly.
Or not? No,
Should you
I'm
just
sorry.
head
Go
to the
nice.
door?
Go nice.
Oh, go nice.
Don't let them. Don't let them
beat you up.
Yeah, don't turn it into, because they will. Okay.
Should you be doing this walking? I mean, as they're talking, should you start walking and make them follow you?
Well, they're going to block you, and if they block you, try and turn the other way. Under no circumstances should you in any way make contact with the security personnel. Okay? They're eventually going to contact you if you keep this up. If they do tell you you're either going to go nice or you're going to go ugly or something along those lines, then go nice. And the first thing you say when you get into that security office is, I asked to leave. You have no right to bring me back here.
So the reason you're saying it back there is because there's microphones on in that room.
Yes. And they will usually say things that will just bury them as well, such as, shut up, thus and such. Can I swear on your show?
No.
No.
Lawrence is over here with his finger on the button, just waiting to use it.
Oh, I have a delay. Where's Janet Jackson? So you voice your concerns, and they're going to respond brutally, verbally, as a general rule, and tell you things that are just plain wrong. Like, you're wrong. We can bring you back here whenever you want. This is whenever we want. This is private property. Well, you can't take your neighbor in your basement because you don't like the fact that his leaves are blowing across your grass. And they can't take you into their back room because they found out you're a good poker player. It's so the big point is, let it be clear that you do not consent. And then the second big thing is, say on the video, I want all evidence of this illegal detention retained. I want to be released immediately, and I am putting you on notice now that the ones that have been said in the past are, my lawyer's going to eat you alive, or you're going to be sued, or, gee, it's going to be nice that I'm going to own half your casino. Just something that lets them know that you're going to sue them and you are holding them responsible for this, and that you will seek out legal counsel. And the reason I'm saying that is, at first I thought you shouldn't say that, but many of my clients do, and I found out that in front of a jury, when they continue to hold you and you've told them that I'm going to sue you, they don't fix it. And the jury would be greatly impressed if they did fix it, but once they don't fix it, the jury's sitting there going, why do they think they can do this? This guy told them everything he's going to do, and they're still sitting here putting them through some kind of mill. And it works out well. And I'm not saying works out well because all of it's bad. Nobody should be back there. And if I truly win at what I'm doing, I'm never going to have another one of these lawsuits because they're just going to change what they do.
Well, but you have won these lawsuits, and they're still doing it.
Well, there have been some substantive changes since I started this in '95, and I've been told directly that many of those changes are a direct result of the litigation that's been brought through my office.
So it's your fault players aren't being beat up anymore.
So let me ask you this.
I'm sorry.
Cell phones now, pretty much all of them can act as a digital recorder. So, A, when they approach me, can I record the conversation without telling them? And does that matter depending on state to state?
That matters depending on state to state. A private conversation in many states cannot be recorded.
How about Nevada?
Why, thank you. Bob, that sounds like a question that any reasonable attorney in this state practicing in my area should know very well.
I don't mean to.
Okay. Well, next time we'll get, but let me follow up on this. Now, what about if I get pulled over by the police on the interstate highway and he comes up to my window? Can I record that conversation?
There is quite a bit of case law, none in Nevada as of yet that I know of, that absolutely states that a traffic stop is a public conversation.
So it's legal.
It would be legal.
Now, just to just to cover myself, let's say I'm in the casino.
By the way, it's always legal if you tell them I'm recording this.
That's what okay, that was my question.
But then they reach it over and say, I'm taking that phone, you're not recording this.
And now you have them on a recording taking your phone. I actually have 2 cases in my office.
That's making him salivate.
Yeah, because first of all, those people don't know how to erase your digital video or digital audio from your phone. They've just grabbed it. Sometimes, in one case, it's still on. Okay, and they're sitting there cussing out the guy and saying, you can't record this, and you hear him saying this, all right? And in the other case, it's a video of a guy saying, you guys are being abusive towards me. And it's obviously the backside of a cell phone, videoing him. And he goes, and you have no right to do that. I just want to leave. And they go, stop taping us. He goes, let me out. Okay? And they grab it. You see, it's it's Cloverfield, the movie. You are watching this movie, and you are in the position of the person actually filming, and up comes this hand and just obliterates the screen, and the video disappears. And then there's a little bit more audio, and they do figure out how to shut it off. They thought they erased it too, but they didn't.
Sounds like a good case to have.
It was.
Double IDs. In video poker, sometimes players, like when I moved here in 93, I had Nevada driver's license, and I still had my California driver's license. They both had my name on it. But some casinos I would use one, and some casinos I would use another, depending on where I thought I would get the best deal for either local or non-local. Is that illegal?
No.
Good.
Now ask me about if you have different names on it.
What if I have different names on it?
Are they both you? And both state issued?
Are they both you or both state issued?
And, not or.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't know.
Okay.
Because I don't have this.
Let's take the case where someone, let's say they have a state-issued ID, and they move to another state and have a legal name change and get in a new state, they have a new ID and a new name, but a legal name, but they never turned in the old one because they moved from that state.
Now you have a problem.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Where you don't have a problem is if in California you can go by Robert Dancer, and in Nevada you can knock down a Bob Dancer ID with different addresses on them. Now you're two different people as far as the casino is concerned, but I would suggest that getting players cards under those two IDs would not be illegal, and would not
would not be smart, for one thing.
Why not?
Because you get W2Gs frequently, and this casino get to know your names. And so if all of a sudden I pull out a different name,
Bob and Robert aren't different names. Although Vin Suprinowitz recently wrote an article where the state of Nevada said, you can't be Vin anymore. Henceforth, you will be Vincent.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, they wouldn't issue him a replacement driver's license. Look it up on the RJ website. It is the most amazing instance of DMV idiocy I've ever read.
Huh. So you were saying it's a problem, though, if I've had a name change, and so I have two.
The problem is that this is going to sound weird, but here's the law in all 50 states as it exists today. You can choose your name and call yourself whatever you want. Okay? And you don't need, not all 50 states, Louisiana is an exception. And you do not need state sanction to change your name or to adopt a name in a given community. If you use that name in that community, it is you. Okay? The name change statutes provide that when you do that, that new name is your legal name. That's the only time you ever get a quote real name or a quote legal name, is when you go through the name change process. You've just taken yourself 2 steps backwards, not 2 steps forward, so far as playing under aliases legally.
Or a woman getting married and assuming she changed her last name during the marriage process, but she still had ID under the old name, and she had IDs she was both Susan, but one was Susan Smith and one was Susan Jones.
That case I have in the Ninth Circuit right now. The judges on oral arguments certainly agreed that there was nothing at all illegal about using either or both names. And there's plenty of case law also that says using either or both names is perfectly fine. The problem is that when you're doing that, in the case that's up there, is would that give the police probable cause to arrest for possession of false identification? Huh. I don't want to get too. This is a very complicated area. There's some of it in Beat the Players. There's going to be a new book pretty soon and there will be more on that with further
Is
explanation.
it called Beat the Players Harder? What is the new book called?
I don't know yet. That'll be partly up to my publisher. My choice is what I was going to call the first book, but nobody seems to like it, and it really doesn't roll off the tongue that great. It would be Your Money or Your Liberty.
Huh. Well, I actually kind of like that. It shows.
Well,
I guess I'm nobody.
let me just ask about what I think is one of the great myths of players, which is security guards and police will tell you it's against the law not to carry ID.
In a
Uh,
They
casino.
really say that?
Oh, yes,
Yeah. In
a
very
casino.
common to say that.
Laugh at them.
Okay, so there's and you so not only do you not have to carry an ID, you also don't have to show anyone an ID that just a non-policeman.
Even a policeman, the high bell rule out of the United States Supreme Court is you may not refuse to identify yourself if there is reasonable suspicion and they stop you on what's called a Terry stop. There's a case, it's a gambler case. I would recommend anybody who could get their hands on it who's a gambler read it to understand so many concepts and aspects of this. It's called Grosh versus Tunica. It's the city of Tunica, Mississippi. It's Hollywood Casino, and Mr. Grosh.
How do you spell Grosh?
Grosch. It's a 2009 case, and just wonderful the way the judge actually understood the law and how it worked and things like that. This was a professional gambler who would not show his identification, would provide his name. Then the police officer showed up, told him you have to show your identification. The judge said no, he did not have to show his identification. You didn't have any reasonable suspicion. This was just a favor to the casino so that they could get a dossier on him, and that's not a legitimate public purpose, but that's not the issue anyway. You can only demand identification if you have reasonable suspicion, and without it, he has no duty to give it to you. He can merely walk away. Okay? So they held the police officer liable, and the police officer, the bottom line is when you read the facts, Mr. Grosh handed the police officer his identification and said, I don't want you to let the casino see this. I'm giving it to you because you are police authority, but this is not for dissemination. The cop takes the driver's license, and if I remember the facts correctly, without even looking at it, he hands it over to the security officer for the Hollywood Casino, smiling, and looks at Mr. Grosh as he hands the driver's license over, at which point Mr. Grosh says something or complains and finds himself arrested for disorderly conduct.
Swearing at a police officer.
Yeah, so the police officer was liable, the casino was liable, the county, everybody was liable to Mr. Grosh, $729,000.
Nice.
Oh.
Before we move on to something else, let me just expand this one step further.
Oh, and I helped on that closing argument.
Good for you.
Good. So,
anyway, I just wanted to ask, let's say that you somehow have two players' cards in two different names. Maybe one is your friend's player's card. You inadvertently are playing under.
well, me and my wife. Is that a good example?
Okay.
I play on Shirley's card sometimes. I use my ID. If I hit a jackpot, it's going to go under my name. But I'll play on my card, and I'll play on Shirley's card in the casinos that allow it.
If they allow it, there's no problem at all.
Okay, but how do you know if they allow? I mean,
You can ask.
You can ask, or when they tell you to stop, don't do it anymore.
okay, but let's say that I'm using my friend's player's card and I hit a jackpot. Is there any way they can say we're not paying it?
No.
Okay.
Not in Nevada. In Missouri, when they had $500 laws and those kind of things, there were cases like that.
I am speaking of Nevada. I
Yep.
don't know Missouri, but I do know Missouri has that nice little regulation that says that you can't bar card counters.
Yeah.
It's
One of the few.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question. 10 years ago, I was playing at the MGM Grand here in Las Vegas. They had some video poker machines that were paying out at the slot machine rate, which meant you got a lot more slot club points, and it was worth to the player about $75 an hour extra on top of a machine that was returning over 100% to start with. I understood at the time it was happening. I would have denied it perhaps if asked at the time, but I knew. Continued to play when there was 99+% chance that the casino did not intend this machine to be paying the points at that rate. Since Nevada is a casino town and the laws are built for the protection of the casinos, is what continued to play on that, was that illegal?
No.
Can they take away your points?
Very possibly.
They can just take them away.
Well, look, you got to understand the way that these things are worked out. First of all, when you are in a casino, you are working on two different contracts, and the case law says you treat these as contracts. Now, your actual wager, each time you wager, is a separate contract. So they're not going to be able to take away your money. Those are separate bets. Then you have the promotional contract, which is your slot club card. And there is a doctrine called unilateral mistake, where you're just playing what they're offering you.
Yes.
Okay? However, if you know that what they're offering you is a mistake,
yes,
and you choose to consciously take advantage of the mistake, contract law with equitable principles written on top of it say that you have that's not the actual contract, and they can rescind and get back the benefit conveyed. So arguably, even if you were to be able to work up $12,000 in points that one day that were unearned, like it was reading your pennies as $5 chips, okay? And you were able to go to the promotions booth and cash it out, the casino could arguably
come after
you and get it back.
Really?
Yeah. Now, this takes us into a new area, though, because recently, 2009 again, I believe, the Gaming Control Board regulations were amended to not only include wagering, but now promotional disputes are solely in front of the Gaming Control Board. And I could write a whole treatise on this, but the problem is that a casino cannot sue for a gaming debt or petition for the return of a gaming debt to the Gaming Control Commission or the courts. That is solely a right of the patron. But now that promotions are in there too, I don't know if a casino could or could not go after a return of a wrongly paid promotion. But what is certain now is you'd have to go in front of the Gaming Control Board unless somebody actually accepts an argument that I've made that new regulation and the statute that allows it to occur, and I do believe this is true, violates Nevada's constitutional requirement that the right to a jury trial not be infringed. But the Supreme Court has, in an unpublished decision, from my perspective, said that, that only means if we say that you have a right to a jury trial in the statute. It doesn't mean that you can't. Once it's said that you don't have one, it's not infringing it. Yeah, a little circular.
Yeah. No, what about that in the same situation on a table game? Actually, this question came from one of our listeners. So they mispay you on a table game.
They were supposed to pay you $100, but they actually paid you $200.
Well, but no, let's take a game where there are big payoffs because, some of these carnival games, right? So they were supposed to take your money, and instead they paid you $5,000,
Okay.
Once they've given you the money, now you've said that they can't sue to get it back, but what about if you're there at the table and they now come to you and say, hey, remember that hand where we thought you had a royal flush? You didn't, and we want the money back.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Richard, and the way to deal with that when they approach you with that is say, I'm not going to give the money back. all right, if you want to keep the money, and say, and they will respond with, well, you want to come see the video? And I say, and the response would then be, I want to see every video you have ever taken where you took more money than you were supposed to, or you mistook a bet instead of mispaid a bet. And when you can show me that in those instances, and you should have saved them if you do this, that you actually come out of the surveillance room like you're doing with me right now and hand that money back to that player, I'll give you the money back. But in the meantime, this is not a one-way system, and you don't get to keep all your mistakes and fix all your keep all the mistakes in your favor and fix all the mistakes against you. That's how I would address it on the scene.
Assuming
now,
you didn't want to play at this casino anymore, because
if it's a
given.
$5,000 payoff, the next problem or issue, though, then comes to, no, they cannot get that money back. They can never get that money back because they would have to bring a patron. They would have to take you in front of the Gaming Control Board, and they don't have the right to. Then we get to issue 3. It is a crime in Nevada to take something from a gambling game that you know was not earned. And you get to that scienter part. And if you actually knew that they had overpaid you at the time, especially if it shows up on a video screen and you're smiling and happy and, oh God, and you pass off the money to your friends so that it's not on on you anymore, and they can't touch, you don't even have the chips, that would be a felony. So you may get prosecuted for it. But if you don't know that it happened, then the scienter element, that's the mental evil intent, would not exist, and there would be no crime.
Interesting.
We're out of time.
Aren't we also getting way too much of a legal lesson here?
Well, that's
these things are important for our listeners.
That was kind of the idea about inviting a lawyer. Now, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Call me.
Call you. Is there a BobNersesian.com website?
No.
Or do you want to give a phone number now?
No.
No. Are you in the phone book?
Yes.
All right. So if they can figure out how to spell Nersesian?
It's all right. My office number is 702-385-5454.
Okay.
My cell phone number, and I would ask that you please limit this to actual professionals who are being confronted with either a backroom or police, and not use my cell phone number for normal office kind of stuff, would be 702-353-5944. And the chances of me picking it up are still really iffy.
How about a 911 text? If I send you a 911 text.
You see, now I have 3 daughters, 23, 18, and 18. And
they know how to do text and Daddy doesn't?
They won't text me.
Oh, my goodness.
They write my wife. They text my wife and say, go tell Dad. All right. So the chances of me reading a text or responding to one are somewhere between the chances of Pluto becoming a planet again this week.
Okay.
Not between anything. That's the odds. I can't do it.
All right. We hope you come back and see us again.
I thank you very much for having me.
We had so many questions that we didn't get to.
Yeah, maybe next month you can come back.
Make me a 3rd co-host.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, good. I heard him. I didn't hear the I'm kidding part. Did you? Let's, good. Bob Ncessian is, hopefully I don't have any reason to call him in the near future. But if I do, his number is on my cell phone. Let's talk about our sponsors. South Point has more than 10,000 video poker games, returning more than 99%. This is more than anybody anywhere else in the world. The August promotion is called the $900,000 Cash is King Everyday Giveaway. In this promotion, there's a drawing every night at 9:20 p.m. for 10 winners. First prize is $10,000, and if you're there within 10 minutes, it's double the 20,000. And surprisingly, about half of them are actually there. They're getting a big crowd, hoping they're on that one chance to get it, and the winners tend to be there. You can earn up to 250 tickets a day by playing $1,250 coin in, and you have to swipe your card to be eligible. The $9,000 winners are also awarded. This is a low roller promotion in that if you can be there every day, you have the advantage, because nobody can get more than 255 tickets, and so if you're there say 3 more days than I am, you have an extra 750. When I have 3,000 tickets, you'll have 3,750. If I have 5,000 tickets, you'll have 5,750. So this is good. So just showing up and being there pays a lot. My next semester of free video poker classes is going to be on Wednesdays starting August 31st at 1 p.m. This one will be in the Grand View Lounge. For the last several years, it's been in the showroom. This will not be in the showroom. It will be in the Grand View Lounge, which is at the very south end of the building. It's in the new section of the building. The classes are pretty familiar to those of you who've taken Bob Dancer classes before, but the new class this time will be Advanced NSU Deuces Wild, which are the penalty card situations on one of the more popular games in town. The Palms. The Palms is giving away a 2011 Mercedes-Benz E350. The way it works is on Friday and Saturday nights at 7 o'clock, they pull 10 winners. The first 5 who are there and identify themselves get cash prizes between $500 and $1,500 and a key into the finals. The next 5 people get $250 cash and no key. So on the 8 days of the promotion, it's going to be up to 40 keys. If everybody shows up on the last night, and then one of those 40 people, there can be some duplicates, is going to win a car. The car is a retail value of $55,000. If you want cash or free play, it's $44,000. You can earn tickets in all the usual ways. They also have their normal play, earn, and win gifts. The first half of the month, it is ice, cooling things, air conditioners, fans, ice buckets, wine chillers, that kind of thing. Second half of the month will be barbecue stuff. The M Casino, what promotion is happening at the end depends on what day it is. On Mondays, they have a mystery multiplier. For video poker players, it's 1, 2, or 3 times. And for slots, it goes up to 10 times. And when you get the multiplier, you don't know till you get there. It's good between noon and midnight. So if you start early, you get only single points. But it appears the people who got the 3x points the first Monday of the month were a different subset of players than the ones who got the 3x the second Monday. So it's possible that over the month, everybody's going to get 3x at least once on a Monday. You just don't know which Monday it is. On Wednesdays, they have a senior slot tournament. If you've played 500 points in the past week, you're eligible for that. They also have a drawing open to everybody at 6 p.m. where you don't have to be there, but you have to collect it before 7 or you forfeit it. There's about $17,000 in prizes, including a first prize of $10,000. Fridays, they have hot seat drawings at 4, 6, 8, and 10 p.m. 250 points earns you an entry, but you have to have your card in the machine and active at the time of the drawings. At each of the drawings, 20 names are called, and if they have both played 250 points anytime during the day and they have an active card, then they get it. It's a total of $3,600 in free play at each of the 4 drawings. Those are our sponsors this week. So what did you think of the Bob Ncessian interview?
I thought it was great. I thought we could have easily done another hour.
Easily, without question. Let's go back. We were talking about money, We talked about, actually, before we go into that, let's talk about Vinny.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So our guest next week is Vinny DiCarlo. Vinny has been both an advantage player and worked on the other side, starting as a valet car parker, dealer, senior management of casinos, but spent most of his time in casino surveillance. Currently, he travels the U.S. and abroad as a consultant for both Indian and corporate-owned casinos. And he wrote a book called How to Beat Casino Surveillance, which is very unkind to the various surveillance rooms here in Las Vegas. And
it is. It's a short book, but it covers the Excalibur. It covers Mirage. It covers Treasure Island.
All the places on the Strip, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And it has some general information about, surveillance in general as well.
Uh-huh.
And then he also writes a monthly column for Blackjack Insider, which is at bjinsider.com. And he said I should let people know that they can get a free trial if they go to bjinsider.com/free trial. You can get 3 months.
3 months, uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's an e-letter? It's an internet newsletter?
Yeah, it's an internet newsletter. And Vinny is quite a character, so it should be a lot of fun next week.
Good. In the introduction, Max Rubin, to the book, Max Rubin goes, everybody he knows named Vinny is a wise guy.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to say that Vinny is definitely a wise guy. All right. We talked earlier about lines of credit when we use them. Now, I use lines of credit all the time. Munchkin says he doesn't very much. So let's talk about what they are. They are basically, you can borrow from the casino. So if you have a line of credit for $10,000, you can borrow up to $10,000 from the casino just by signing, and they give you the money. To get a line of credit of $10,000, usually you have to have some kind of bank account with $10,000 in it, because they will check. They will call up your bank and say, if we have a check for $10,000 now, will you cash it? And if the bank says yes, then pretty much you get the line of credit. If the bank says no, pretty much you don't.
Actually, they ask them for the average daily balance, and what the bank will tell them is low 5 figures, mid 5 figures, high 5 figures, going back 90 days.
Okay. And there's no, keeping money in an account, there's no, accounts pay almost zero interest. But although that's better than the market's paying these days. So keeping money in accounts, okay. Now, I use a line of credit because I can go into the casino and without having money in my pocket, have access to whatever the line of credit is. Now, Munchkin, you usually don't use lines of credit.
Yeah, the big difference between table game players is we do not want the casino to know who we are at all. So to have a line of credit, you have to give them not only your real name, but your Social Security number. In my case, when I play, I'm always a refusal. I never give them a name. I never give them a player's card. I may give them a name, Bob. That's about it. And
you use my name in a casino?
Yeah, I do all the time. And this is actually sort of a big myth. You will hear people say, "Oh, well, you can't play big money without a player's card." Nonsense. I've played all over the United States, betting the table maximum in many places with no player's card for long periods of time. It's never been a problem.
So you lose out chances for comps.
I get no comps, but on the other hand, when I get barred, they can send a picture of, the top of my head, but they have no name to go with it. And so I can walk into the next casino or come back to the same casino 3 months later, and they have no idea who I am.
Uh-huh. Good. So, because and for video poker players, since you get W2Gs and mailers, and the mailers and slot clubs are very generous to video poker players, and so giving that up, it's hard to play with an advantage without using a slot club.
Sure.
And so if you're going to do that, video poker players pretty much bite the bullet and use their real name.
I'd like to add one thing. Most professional table games players that I know have had at least one legal name change. But you can change your name, but you can't change your Social Security number. So if you have ever had credit or given the casino your Social Security number, if you change your name and get a W-2G, it will immediately trigger the fact that you used to have a different name, and they will come question you about it.
But and assuming it's not Shirley Jones, it used to be Shirley Smith. Okay. Safety deposit boxes. Now, a lot of casinos let you have a safety deposit box if you regularly play for decent stakes. So if you can, now apparently Bally's Casino in Vegas doesn't have safety deposit boxes anymore, which is a big surprise to me.
Really?
But a lot of casinos do. So when I have played at when I played at the MGM Grand, and it was big money every day. I was playing 60 hours a week there. I had a safety deposit box, and was Shirley and I both having access to it. So we basically never left the casino with more than pocket change. Now, I don't recall if you needed Social Security numbers to open a safety deposit box. Would you think so?
I don't think that you do. I don't think you do. And actually, for Las Vegas, there's another good option. I'm a big believer in safety deposit boxes, and I use them in casinos where I don't play. So I have no qualms about going in, showing ID, because I'm not playing in that casino. But there's also a private safety deposit box company in Las Vegas.
Yes.
That is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's another very good option for...
Yes, it's more expensive than the others, but there is some security savings.
They need iris scans to get in the door, and so it's quite secure, but... yeah, as you say, there is some expense.
Well, yeah, I was curious. I would think the police would anybody who uses that is trying to hide something. So I would have thought that the police would stake that place out and see who would go in there and use it, because most people would get a free safety deposit box in a bank or a casino rather than using...
Well, but those aren't 24 hours. Well, casinos are, but banks aren't 24 hours. And if you're a poker player, and 2 a.m. and there's a big game on at the Bellagio, well, most of those guys have boxes at the Bellagio, but,
Good. All right. So we're going to start next week with a thing at the end. We didn't save enough time. Is what did we learn during this hour? I think that's an important thing to talk about, and there was a lot of things we could have talked about on Bob Ncessian's talk, but we didn't. We're running out of time. Lawrence is giving me fingers saying we only have a few seconds left. So we're not going to do it this week. So next week is Vinny going to talk about surveillance and beating surveillance.
Yes.
So he's mostly table games. I don't know how that's going to work on video poker, but we're going to find out. In the meantime, go out and hit lots of royal flushes.